What is clear is transparent. And what is transparent needs no further clarity. So I'm asking today, what happened to the expenditure statement of account for the MDAs? Anyway, that question is directed at CBN. We all know in Nigeria, apart from a few exceptional cases, government agencies are required to operate unified bank accounts known as the Treasury Single Account. This is to promote transparency and accountability in financial management. You call it TSA. Some of the features of this TSA include to consolidate government receipt and payment. And then also, secondly, it allows access to funds for sub-accounts linked to it based on approved budgetary provision. And according to accountants, to ensure best practices in bank management, all of these are ministries, departments, and agencies, or government entities generally, must regularly reconcile their bank accounts to detect any discrepancies and ensure accuracy. At least that's the normal thing to do now. And so to meet these standards, government must make sure that regular monthly bank statement of expenditures of this MDA is a benchmark standard for best practices to enable them correct regular risk management and identify potential risk, and then implement control to mitigate risk in these accounts and financial management. When we know all of these things, the question now, bordering accountant auditors in public accounting in Nigeria, and none of them is willing to ask publicly, maybe because of fear of CBN, is that why CBN no dey issue bank statement on government expenditures to these ministries, department, and agency to enable them prepare and present a universally accepted standard bank reconciliation document. Why? Anyway, the challenge of not having a regular monthly statement of account on expenditures are enormous, and they know that. And without it, financial record will definitely be inaccurate, incorrect, and incomplete. And this will certainly lead to poor financial decision making. And secondly, errors of discrepancies between the government record and the bank record may go undetected, resulting in financial losses because a bank reconciliation statement helps detect fraudulent activities such as unauthorized transactions like foreign debit, foreign credit. And say without the statement, fraud in the account will definitely go unnoticed. And as our lay economics they talk, when you prepare statement of account, you go put both income and expenditure side by side. And as bankers will always advise, the absence of a bank reconciliation statement may indicate internal control weakness, which can lead to further financial mismanagement. And according to a lawyer, not producing a bank reconciliation statement, or just call it bank statement, may result in non-compliance with an accounting standard, leading to potential legal issues. So I ask again, since CBN knows all of these things, why CBN no dey give statement of expenditure to ministries, department, and agency? Because we all know it's a normal thing that once you contest a transaction in your account, you immediately request for your bank statement of account for your financial controller to come through. But in the case of ministries, parastatals, and agencies, their bank statement of account on expenditure is not made available to them for their financial controller to come through. And even in some cases, this ministry, department, and agency staffs are suffering non-remittance of salaries and staff welfare deduction. And the solution to this simple problem is, made impossible because of lack of bank statement on expenditure. And so we all know that the consequences, the refusal by the CBN to issue monthly statement of expenditure to these ministries, department, and agency is a neglect of a vital duty by bank to customer. And I'm saying it today, which this duty is to issue monthly statement of account to customers free of charge. And the CBN and the ministries are not excluded. It is a legal responsibility. And there are circulars to that effect. The question now is, if CBN neglect this vital obligation by not issuing back statement to MDAs on personal overhead and capital expenditure transaction, how then do these MDAs reconcile their monthly account and ensure financial transparency, prudence, and accountability? I know say you go ask me, say if you ask me, I ask you who you go ask. I beg, ask the next person. He might even be an accountant. And can we say that the government integrated financial management information system, GIFMI statement, is a bank statement as required by law? Maybe the accountant can help us, out here. Does government know that the consequence of failure by any bank, especially the Apex Bank, to issue monthly expenditure statement of account to customer will not only make it impossible to avoid weak control and financial mismanagement, but can also lead to financial inaccuracies, potential losses, and compliance issues. And yet, government is talking about transparency, and this very simple thing they have neglected. So imagine if Innocent Motors did not have access to their monthly statement of income and expenditures, in that they are wahala with GTB. The story for long, like Yoruba people go say, story long. It means say the story long. According to an article by Dr. Yaya Sule, fellow Institute of Chartered Accountant, fellow enterprise risk management professionals, and also a fellow Chartered Institute of Bankers. So the man is fellow everywhere, and he knows what he's saying. Bank reconciliation statement is a known management exceptional tool for detecting possible errors, eliminating fraud, irregularities, and other material discrepancies in any accounting system. This is to enable correction immediately they are detected, as it helps enhance production of credible and quality financial report in order to avoid the supply of misleading financial information. He even went further to say that the requirement for the usage of a bank statement of account as a reliable third-party confirmatory tool cannot be overemphasized in finance and account, without which the resulting financial statement will lack credibility. So when all of this, despite all of this, so I want to ask now, those that have been auditing the account of the MDAs, waiting that they look if CBN know they provide expenditure statement of account. And yet, if all professionals agree that this piece of document is necessary in financial management transparency, why then should the CBN not issue monthly bank statement on expenditure to MDAs? How does CBN take the confirm, does these MDAs confirm illegal deduction from the account? What is the missing link that are consistently allowed, and sustain, this denial of issuance of necessary bank statement on expenditures to MDAs for years, notwithstanding, its sacrosanct nature for the production of credible financial report? Is it because the CBN is the only regulating bank in Nigeria? Also, as the only regulating bank, I even really want to ask, is it appropriate and just and in compliance with universal best practice for the CBN to be involved in rendering commercial banking services to ministries, department, and agency, or any other entity in Nigeria, while at the same time regulating herself? Anyway, you will say plenty questions, I just asked today, but let the bankers and the economics amongst us just help us out. I mean, members of the National Assembly. So I will therefore advocate to resolve this operational omission that has become a norm as a result of consistent practice. And we urge the president to set up a panel of seasoned accountants, bankers, economists, lawyers, and even administrators, or maybe members of National Assembly also, to review this practice and make adequate recommendation and adjustment thereafter. The panel should also look into the propriety or otherwise of the Central Bank of Nigeria as the regulator, taking on the role of commercial bank by rendering commercial banking services to ministries, department, and agency, or any entity in Nigeria, and consequently recommend that the role of this, that the CBN is carrying out here, should be reversed to the commercial bank. So why the CBN should concentrate on her core mandate of regulating the bank to ensure financial transparency and accountability. Otherwise, all the noise about tax reform, financial accountability, and prudence will certainly not ensure the necessary checks and balances needed to curb the error or enhance credibility and transparency in our public finance. Anyway, you will say plenty English, but I just hope that you understand. Make I leave and here for now. Let us also hear more from the professionals amongst us. And if you're not a professional, feel free to just send it, share it with a professional to throw more light. For I might not be an accountant, even though I'm dressed like my mentor, Tony Elumelu, but our responsibility is to provoke a process with the hope that it will lead to a better society for all of us. See you next week.